How to gain freedom from dangerous attachments. How to treat inevitable changes in life with dignity. How to stop being a slave to your emotions and gain true freedom. Imagine, you are strongly attached to a person. So much so that you are ready to the extreme just to hold him. But the stronger you cling, the more you risk losing him. After all, excessive emotional attachment is dangerous. It leads to control, manipulation and painful relationships. We risk losing ourselves and our freedom. In fact, we cling not to people, but to our own illusions and expectations. But how to stop clinging and learn to let go? How to find harmony in relationships? The answers are given by the philosophy of Stoicism. The principles of Stoicism are applicable as practical steps described to separate people and situations. Therefore, we urge you to stay with us to the end and to take every step as an effective guide for wisdom, which will help you navigate often restless waters of human relationships and emotions. But before we start, let me remind you about our Telegram channel, by subscribing to which you will become even closer to the philosophy of Stoicism. Step 1. Get away from this person for a while. Sometimes the wisest action is to leave him. That is, to make a distance, but not to create emptiness, but to find clarity. Imagine this. You are on a bright holiday, the music is loud, people are talking, and you are trying to understand the whisper of your friend. It's hard, isn't it? This happens when we are too close to a person or situation. Our emotions, like the noise of a holiday, silence clarity. Stay away. It is the same as leaving the party in a calmer space, where you can clearly hear and think. Seneca, who had deep insight, once said, "How often do you travel? Go back to yourself." It is not only about the physical space, but also about the mental and emotional. When feelings cloud our vision, a step back helps us to observe them, like the clouds floating in the sky, realizing that they are separated from us. This is detachment, not coldness, but a way to objectively observe the situation and our reactions to it. You need to see the chessboard, and not just the chessboard that you hold in your hands. To apply this today, you do not need a villa in a rural area like in the ancient Stoics. You can just turn off the phone for an hour, take a walk, or just sit in silence in a corner. The goal is to find a space where your thoughts will not be muffled by the constant noise of life. It is in such calm moments that we find the strength to make decisions based not on the momentary emotions, but on thoughtful thoughts and inner wisdom. This step back is your strength, your space, to breathe and see behind the fog of the moment. Step 2. Think about the rationality of distancing or of your thoughts. Think about your own relationships. Deciding to distance yourself from someone is not a hasty decision. It is a thoughtful process that reflects rationality and kindness, which is appreciated by Stoicism. Imagine your life as a journey on a boat. People in your life are like winds and currents. Some help you to sail smoothly, and others can lead you into restless waters. It is here that you, as a captain, need to decide which winds to use, and which storms to avoid. This decision is not about how to avoid. It is about directing your life in the direction corresponding to your values and well-being. Epictetus Stoicus, who turned his life from slavery to wisdom, often emphasized the importance of choosing associations that correspond to our inner freedom. His life is a valuable lesson for us. Not everyone who enters our life brings light. Some cast off shadows that can dim our own shine. Think about your relationships like mirrors. What do they reflect in themselves? Joy, growth and understanding, or doubt, discomfort and anxiety? Choosing to distance yourself is not an act of refusal. It is a conscious choice in favor of self-preservation and moral integrity. Stoicism is not cold logic. It is a warm wisdom. It asks us to think about whether this person adds harmony to my life or violates it as a dissonant note. Thinking about this, remember the words of Epictetus. We are not concerned with what is happening to us, but with what we think about what is happening. This is not only a matter of a person, but also of your perception of his influence on your life. Are they a leader in your story, contributing to your growth, or a burden distracting you from your path? Ultimately, the decision to distance yourself is the creation of a life story that you will proudly tell. It is about being true to yourself, your values and your path. Stoicism teaches us to accept relationships that enrich our narrative and gently let go of those who do not do this. It is about creating a life in which every person and every experience is a balanced, thoughtful addition to the chandelier of your existence. Step 3. Talk to someone you can rely on. When the world seems like a puzzle and you are struggling to put it all together, it is time to lend a helping hand. Stoicism, although it supports the inner power, also appreciates the power of communication. Talking to someone we trust is like searching for an anchor in an uneasy sea. It is not about getting rid of problems, but about gaining clarity and perspective. Think of it as a navigator in a life journey. The one who helps you navigate the terrain when your own compass is a little lost. Seneca, with his deep understanding of human nature, acknowledged the power of mutual wisdom. He compared a friend to a mirror, reflecting not only our appearance, but also our sacred truths. This reflection is not only to clearly see yourself. It is about understanding our path. When you open up to someone, you are not just sharing words. You invite him into your inner world, offering to look at your thoughts and emotions. Such exchange creates a space of mutual understanding and support, where there is an exchange of opinions, and not just sympathy. Choose a trusted person with a mind. A person who embodies the values you strive for. This person will become your soundboard, helping you to understand your thoughts and feelings. They are not obliged to solve your problems. Sometimes it is enough to just listen. Their presence is a reminder that you are not alone on this path. By sharing your thoughts, you can find in their answers pieces of wisdom. Small pieces of truth, which will help you look at things differently. Stoicism teaches us that life's difficulties are best overcome with a calm soul and a circle of support. This confirms the idea that power is often born in unity. Remember that detachment from a person or a situation does not mean detachment from all human connections. In fact, it is these connections that give strength and perspective necessary to navigate in a complex life space. Your conversations with this reliable person are not just conversations. They are bridges to understanding, paths to clarity, and anchors in a constantly changing sea of life. Step 4. Set boundaries for your feelings. To own your emotional landscape is the same as to be the captain of a ship sailing through a storm. Waves are our feelings, powerful and sometimes impenetrable. Stoicism teaches us not to avoid these waves, but to be able and wise to navigate them. It is about knowing when to allow the waves to carry us, and when to direct the ship firmly. Our feelings are natural, but without setting boundaries, they can shift us from the chosen path. The focus is to survive these waves, without allowing them to overturn our boat. Epictetus, with his deep understanding of the human soul, reminds us that we are not concerned by things, but by the way we look at them. This look is the key to setting emotional boundaries. It is like a gatekeeper in our consciousness, which recognizes each visitor, that is, our feelings, but does not allow each of them to seize the house, that is, our inner world. For example, when anger knocks on our door, we recognize it, understand its cause, but do not allow it to sit at our table and dictate our actions. It is about talking to our emotions, understanding their place, and gently directing them where they will not clog our mind. From a practical point of view, setting boundaries can mean setting time frames in order to feel a certain way. For example, during the next hour, I will allow myself to be upset about this, and then I will focus on solving the problem. This is not about denying feelings, but about controlling their influence. This is balancing, like a gatekeeper, who recognizes the height, but concentrates on the rope. By doing so, we honor our feelings, without becoming their slaves. We feel, understand, and then gently direct ourselves back to a place of balance and rationality. This process is not suppression. We are talking about moderation, as if you added the right amount of sugar to your tea, enough to feel the taste, but not so much to overdo it. Step 5. Consider the possible consequences of distancing. When you are on the road where you need to move away, devote time to each way. Stoicism is not an impulsive decision. It is a thoughtful consideration. Imagine that each road is a possible future, and each turn is a different outcome. What awaits you on the road? Will it bring peace, growth, and strengthening of your own sense of dignity? Or will it leave you with regrets and missed opportunities? Foresight is not a confident prediction of the future, but a wise preparation for it. Mark Aurelius, the man on whose shoulders the whole empire was held, once said, "Look at the past with its changing empires, which rose and fell, and you will be able to foresee the future." His words are interlinked with the Stoic practice of thinking about past experience to make decisions in the future. Think about those cases when you were away from yourself. What were the results? Did this space bring clarity, peace, or did it lead to isolation and regret? Use these reflections as guidance, as a way to take lessons from the past to navigate into the future. Finally, think about how your decisions will affect others. Stoicism teaches us to balance between our needs and common good. Separating, you contribute to your growth and make a positive impact on the lives of other people. Or you may potentially cause harm or cause misunderstanding. This step is not only related to your own interests. It is about harmonizing your well-being with the world around you. It is also about following your steps in the garden so that they contribute to your growth and do not trample the flowers. Separation in a Stoic understanding is an act of wisdom, a carefully weighed decision that takes into account not only yourself but also the interconnected network of relationships in which we all exist. Step 6. Take a break from social networks. Imagine your mind as a calm lake. Now imagine that social networks are a drop of water after a rain, constantly breaking its calm surface. Thanks for watching. These drops are endless updates, notifications and comparisons that penetrate our peace. Stoicism, a philosophy that flourished long before the advent of the digital age, still offers eternal wisdom on how to cope with such violations. Seneca, who thought about the shortness of life, would most likely consider social networks as one of the numerous unnecessary distracting factors in modern life. He once wisely noted that life is long if you know how to use it. Thus, this step of detachment is to return time and attention to oneself, to choose what to focus your precious energy on. In the world of social networks, our attention is a commodity that everyone wants to get. By detaching ourselves, we are not just avoiding a digital flood, but we are giving our mind the opportunity to breathe, think, be. This is a social network. This is a social network. This is a social network. This is a social net. Work. This is a social network. This is a social network. We simply know how to find a place to engage and blacklist our. We know how to find a place to get our attention and attention alone. We know how to get our attention and attention to work, and we need just one thought, one short sheet toward the USA do. The USA do. Do you feel more calm, more real, more conscious in relation to your thoughts and feelings? This is awareness, the heart of Stoicism. Understanding that we can control and the refusal of what is not in our power. This is awareness that, although we cannot stop the rain, we can choose shelter and enjoy the sound of a drop without getting wet. To rest from social networks in the modern world is the same as to get off a fast-moving train. It is quiet and calm here, but there is clarity in this silence. Starting this break in social networks, remember the words of Seneca and use this time wisely. Read a book, take a walk, write in a diary, do things that nourish your soul, and not just spend time. This break is your time to reconnect with yourself. Step 7. Concentrate on your basic needs consciously. On this last step on the path of determination, pay your attention inward to the very essence of your being. This is where the essence of Stoicism lies. Concentrate on what is really important for your inner growth and well-being. This is about abandoning the insignificant, noise, emptiness, and focusing on what nourishes your soul. This is not about material needs. Everything is much deeper. This is about emotional nourishment, moral integrity, and personal growth. Think about your life as a garden. What does it need to flourish? Sunlight, water, care. This is the most important. Also, determine what is necessary for your emotional and spiritual growth, and focus on the development of these aspects. Epictetus, born in difficult conditions, understood how important it was to focus on what really matters. His teaching emphasizes the power of entertainment, which allows us to separate wheat from wheat in our lives. Wealth is not in our hands. It is in our hands. Wealth is not in owning a large property, but in having a little desire. Use this wisdom for your emotional landscape. You need to know what you need to feel full, stable, and peaceful. This is the recognition that sometimes less means more. In the world of endless selection and distracting factors, you need to find satisfaction in simplicity and depth. In practice, this means that you need to devote time to contemplation, to devote time to thinking about what brings you true happiness and peace. This is silence in solitude, meaningful conversations with friends, hobbies. As you go through life, constantly address your main needs, correcting and changing them as you grow and develop. This focus will become your compass, which will guide you along difficult life paths with clarity and purpose. It is about living consciously, not just existing. And in this purposeful existence, you will find the essence of Stoicism, a life lived with purpose, wisdom, and inner peace. Stoicism is a wise choice in life, something like a choice of the best on the Swedish table. Philosophers and the Stoics believe that what we need does not always match what we want. It is the same as choosing snacks that are useful to us in life, for you, and not only those that are appetizing at the moment. Imagine that your life is a Swedish table on which such things as friends, class, and impressions are laid out. Instead of grabbing everything in a row, Stoicism says that it is better to choose what will really fill you and make you happy in the long term. It doesn't matter what to say. I choose what is useful for me, for my heart and my mind. Think about what you really need for emotional well-being and growth. Brick and picture getting in the way of decisions on how to problems and situations. We find in the practices of Stoicism Theobar Solenoa deep and thorough to identifications. This philosophy offers us to weigh the causes of our distancing, to enter into a transparent dialogue, to establish the limits of emotional reactions, to think about the consequences of our actions imposed, to learn to forgive and not to jam and soglize options, to enter more directly into our room, and not to have things to do with life and nature. To come together as friends. To rest from the pressure of external influence dear to you and ring the bell of notifications to be the first to enjoy our new videos about the Stoic wisdom.